Issues that still need to be worked out on financial regulatory reform. But our next guest is still holding out for bipartisan support on this bill. Joining us right now is Senator Bob Corker. He is a banking committee member in the Senate. And Senator, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Becky and Steve. Good to be with you.
Well, it's good to see you. We've been talking an awful lot about financial reform. And there's a huge sense that not much will get done now that you have both Shelby and Dodd hitting this impasse. But what do you think can be reasonably expected to be accomplished when it comes to financial regulatory reform?
Well, Senator Warner and I have continued our partnership and continue to make good progress. Obviously, the Dodd and Shelby teams reached impasse on Friday and began drafting their own bills, which obviously leads towards a legislative train wreck. So yesterday, with all the snow that was happening, Senator Dodd and I sat down in his office, and we decided to do what we can to try to craft a bill that will receive bipartisan support. I notified Republican leadership yesterday afternoon of my decision. We sat down late in the afternoon, our two staffs did, on a conference to begin working on that, and I still hope that there's a way, with us working together, that we have an opportunity to deal with those things in financial regulation that need to be dealt with. I think as you talk about jobs, the longer that financial institutions do not know how they're going to be regulated, do not know what capital requirements are going to be, the longer lending is going to be tighter than necessary. And so it's my hope in the next couple of months we'll be able to do something that will receive some bipartisan support and again, stand the test of time and really only address those issues that need to be addressed. I hope that this bill, if we craft it, and I think there's a chance we will, I hope it does not end up being a Christmas tree for all kinds of things that are unnecessary, which often happens here. But we have, I think, a strong commitment to try to craft a bill that will work. I look forward to trying to make that happen, and we'll see where it goes.
Senator, what was the response from Republican leadership, including from Shelby's office, knowing that you're going to go ahead and cooperate with Senator Dodd?
You know, things around here are pretty collegial on the phone and in conversation, and I think you'll probably be best off probably talking with them. I have, expressed my dissatisfaction pretty strongly with the way things have been going. I think the only way, Mark Warner and I, he's a business guy, and I am too, and we come from that world, and, we don't want to sit around a table for months and get to know. We try to get to yes, and I think that entering a negotiation when you're trying to solve a problem, that's what you need to do. Obviously, there are going to be some differences. Consumer protection is one that obviously is a hot button, and trying to figure out a way to make sure there is appropriate consumer protection without giving the federal government some vast amount of power that is unnecessary and destabilizes our financial system is obviously going to be an issue. But
Senator Corker,
yeah,
I just want to understand very specifically the kind of parameters of your decision to go to talk to Senator Dodd and say that you're going to be cooperating with him. You and Senator Warner are involved in a specific part of the deal. Does this only govern that part of it? Is it you're going to come to some kind of bipartisan agreement on that aspect of it, or is it broader than that?
Broader. We're going to attempt to negotiate a bill that incorporates all of the major elements that we've been working on. So,
So are you stepping forward here and sort of replacing Senator Shelby when it comes to the negotiations on the Republican side for the regulatory reform?
Well, I'm just one senator, and I certainly would never say that I could replace Senator Shelby, somebody I respect and like a lot. But I am stepping forward as a Republican senator saying that this is a piece of legislation that needs to be passed. There are issues that need to be addressed. I think every American wants to know that we're going to create a resolution regime that says that when an entity fails, it fails. So no,
Are there other Republican senators who are with you on this?
I'm not aware of any yet. Obviously, as we move forward and hopefully build some trust, there will be others joining. Look, Judge Gregg is working very heavily with Jack Reed right now on derivatives. I think they've had good conversations. There are issues that I think they still need to work out, but there are other members of the committee I know that think financial regulation at this point in time is important. I know they want to make sure that Americans know we're not going to use taxpayer monies to bail out a company in the future. That's something that I think is universally held, so we'll just see.
You know, Senator Corker, I had a chance to talk to Senator Shelby's people, and it struck me that the differences on this Consumer Financial Protection Agency are really almost, I guess, semantic if you're outside the Beltway, but really, I don't know what the word is, but it's live or die if you're inside the Beltway. It has to do with rulemaking. Are you negotiating on this? Do you feel like you can come to some agreement with the Democrats on this issue of how much power the CFPA has?
Well, I hope so. I know where both sides are. We obviously are reaching out to people that are affected by this. I was on the phone yesterday with numbers of people that are affected by consumer issues on both sides of it, I might add, and I hope so. I mean, obviously, if we cannot bridge that divide, it's unlikely that we'll have a bill. But I think it can be done. I talked to Chairman Dodd daily throughout this process. I think I know where his strong points are on this issue. I know where ours are on the Republican side, and I hope that's the case. Obviously, look, I'm a former business guy. I don't like the long reach of government reaching into areas that are unnecessary, and I'm still that person here today, and I want to do what I can to make sure there's appropriate consumer protection, but not a long reach of federal government arm into areas that are unnecessary.
We heard from Elizabeth Warren earlier today on the show, and she talked about how she thinks this arena is incredibly important, is very opposed to it getting scuttled, the Consumer Protection Agency part of things, and would like to see that agency supersede all other regulators. Would you feel comfortable with that?
Absolutely not. I mean, I don't, you know, there are numbers of Democrats, just for what it's worth, that think that is a preposterous idea. So my sense is there's some room there. We're going to try to get there. Again, the direction it was headed on Friday is no doubt towards a legislative train wreck. There are some issues, derivatives, capital requirements. There are some issues that need to be dealt with, and it's my hope that we'll do that in a constructive manner. I realize this puts myself in an awkward place to be in this body right now, but I think it's an important place to be, and I look forward to trying to come to a conclusion that we can have support on both sides of the aisle in passing legislation, again, that will seek that balance, not cause it to get out of balance, seek that balance that's important, as with any piece of legislation.
Does your view on negotiating with the Democrats extend to other arenas beyond the regulatory reform issues?
Well, I mean, regulatory reform is a pretty big issue, and you know, I don't know how many hours we've invested in that this year. Mark,
what about health care? I mean, that's also a big issue that's had a lot of
I think there certainly, you know, we've been very involved in health care. We've had meetings throughout the weekend, actually, on health care, but there are probably others that will take more of a lead on that. I'd love to be involved in ways that are constructive and care deeply about the issue, campaigned on the issue, and hope that we seek a bill that actually takes us every step forward. The bill that has been semi-passed, if you will, but probably will not hopefully see final passage by signature with the President, it doesn't do that. It takes us in directions that are negative. People know that if that bill were to pass, there'd have to be numbers of other bills passed over the next 2 or 3 years to correct it. That's not the way to pass legislation, and I think that you know, I'm hoping that whatever this public event that's going to occur in the next month or so will be helpful, but probably most of my time is going to be on financial regulation. It's a pretty big plate. It affects a lot of people. It's important, and I think we need to get it right.
All right, Senator Corker, we want to thank you very much for joining us today. It's been good talking to you.